So my next teacher that I want to commemorate and toast is Dr. Sue Collins. I had Dr. Collins as my math teacher in 7th and 8th grade in Howard County, Maryland. I did move around a bit. I'm sure you've noticed, I've mentioned I have lived in North Carolina. I live in New York now. There was a time I lived in Columbia, Maryland. In any case, Dr. Collins gave me an opportunity. It's not so much how she taught, and to a certain extent it wasn't what she taught, but it was what she taught. It was that she gave me an opportunity to do something in a way that was more suited to my abilities and my interests, and not just me, but a lot of other kids. So what it was in 7th and 8th grade is that my math class wasn't in the regular school. And note, I went to public schools from, first grade through undergraduate, if you want to call NC State a public school, and it kind of is, but we have to pay. In any case, I took Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry in 7th and 8th grade. So I got through what is normally 3 years of math that most people do in high school, and I did it in 7th and 8th grade. And I have Dr. Collins to thank for that. Because the issue I had with math is I was learning more of it at home, mainly through books my father gave me and challenges my father gave me. I had semi-taught myself a little bit of algebra in 6th grade working off of books. But the issue is with math, of course, is it's very cumulative in certain aspects. You can also go broad, but that's for another time. But if you have holes, that can cause trouble. So it does help to have a structured approach to learning math. In any case, at various points, and I don't know at which points people had told my parents, maybe she should skip a grade or something like that, but that never would have fixed any of my issues, because the issue wasn't so much, I needed to get a grade ahead or something like that. The issue was that in general, I went through material a lot faster than other kids and other people, and it can still be, it's not quite such a problem when you're in a professional career as an adult. But as a kid, I got into all sorts of trouble. It's not just math, it's also reading and reading ahead and other stuff. And this has long been a problem because it also led to boredom in school. Luckily, I had a very large fund of books, as it were, and things to keep me occupied during class. And I didn't disrupt class, but I know it did annoy the teachers that I was reading my books instead of paying attention to the stuff I already knew. In any case, by doing these 3 years of math in 2 years, I took trig and analytic geometry in 9th grade, I took calculus in 10th grade, and I also had some other issues later on. That said, not only did she give me this opportunity through regular school, she told me about some other stuff. So I'm actually going to thank and point out some other people who have developed materials for kids who are very advanced in mathematics and not necessarily in a school way. So to begin with, thanks to Dr. Julian Stanley, I toast him, of Johns Hopkins University, who started the Center for Talented Youth. I went in the summer of 1987. I took a computer science course. I learned Pascal, and I learned proof by induction and some other neat algorithmic stuff in computer science. The next year I did problem solving with pre-calculus math, and I learned abstract algebra and some other stuff. In computer science I also learned propositional logic. I learned more math in these non-math or non-standard math classes than you get in most school. So Dr. Stanley had created this Center for Talented Youth, CTY. As I said, I only did 2 summers there, but I met a lot of interesting people, and I met a lot of people who were far advanced and far smarter than me, and that made me happy. I will explain that another time. The next one I want to talk about is Canada USA Mathcamp. Now, I didn't go there as a student. I was on staff for a few years there. And these are for really advanced students in math, teenagers. We tried to make it, I don't know, I don't want to say policy, but we tried to make sure we focused on math you wouldn't get in normal high school. These were very, very smart students, much faster than I was. Most of them were much faster than I was at the same age with regards to math. The issue, of course, is they don't necessarily have a deep fund of knowledge. I was at least 10 years older than most of the students there. So that they were smarter than me didn't make much of a difference, given that I knew a lot more than they did. I did focus on more applied math because that's my area. A lot of the staff were coming from pure math programs in graduate study. And there is an issue with applied math. It is difficult when they don't have a lot of domain knowledge and a lot of a big toolbox of techniques. And that's one of the problems with applied math. I had to come up with stuff that was a little more accessible. So more combinatorics, discrete math, probability, some fairly straightforward stuff. And I also, my favorite thing to teach was false proofs, which is to teach, you need to be rigorous and you need to think through what the proofs are actually doing. So I would do stuff like prove that 1 equals 2 equals infinity. And some other fun stuff. I taught that the reals were countable. These are all false statements using very iffy logic, but you see this kind of reasoning in proofs, and a lot of the students, this was the first, Mathcamp was the first time they ran into proofs. Now, Dr. Thomas, who had originally started Mathcamp, after he left Mathcamp, started MathPath, which is for slightly younger students, so 11 to 14. Mathcamp is for, more towards 13 to 18-year-olds. So that's another one. And then finally, thumbs way, way up for Dan Zaharapal, who had been a student at Mathcamp when I was a staffer there, and then was on staff at Mathcamp as a junior counselor, and then as a mentor, a teaching staff. He went on to start his own enrichment program in math, first in New York City, and now they've expanded to Los Angeles, going to underserved populations in terms of gifted education in math, and really investing in the intensive kind of education that this requires. So, way, way up to all of these teachers and all these people who created programs that provide the opportunities and let these students achieve their full potentials. It really did a lot in my own life, and I hope it's continuing to do to many other students as well.